Hey friends, welcome back to Peculiar Potions. Last time we created the railway to the location that we'll be building our secret village, but a railway isn't much use without an actual station. So today, we're establishing a station at either end of the tracks for easy transport between the two locations. And so I find myself faced with yet another project in this game that I have never made before. I've always thought that making a train station would be fascinating, but I never exactly had much reason to do it. Until now. Also, you may notice that around the hideaway, most of the torches have been replaced with lanterns. Not in the final setup of lampposts like this, but just generally around in the walls. This is something that I did since last time, and this took about 5 or 6 stacks of lanterns. It was pretty insane. It means that picking up ones like this is going to be a little bit more problematic since I'm going to need to use a pickaxe in order to pick them up reliably. But I feel like things look a whole lot better looking over the mountainside and seeing all the lanterns built in, you know? Looks like there's some torches that I missed, so I didn't exactly do a perfect job, and there's also still some torches in the ground over there. But hey, 'tis what it is, and it looks a whole lot nicer. I did also... Here's the train track there itself. I did extend lanterns out this way relatively. Again, there's still some torches in areas that I missed. It wasn't exactly perfect, but I got most of these areas. I planted some more trees so that... You know, the whole point of the hideaway is that it's hidden away and it's super secretive. If I'm putting lanterns around the outsides here, I don't want this to be like a beacon that illuminates the hideaway to the whole rest of the world, so I put down some more trees to make it a bit more secretive back here. But by having all this light down, it means that I can finally explore around this kind of area without having to worry about mobs coming and ruining my day, as they have been consistently whenever I come out to areas like this. Also, I changed around some settings in graphics and found out that there's a better grass, quote-unquote, and it does this, and I'm not used to seeing it, but I guess this is life now. I suppose this is life now. So, this is going to be the location for the train station, so I'll also use this as an opportunity to connect the paths around here. This was my initial marker. I can get rid of this now. I can get rid of this initial marker here. Oh, it's starting to snow. I wonder if it'll start to be a thunderstorm and if we'll see the lightning rod activate. So, since we do now have the actual tracks going all the way to where we're going to have our secret village, I can now weave this track out and make a bit of a station here. I just need it to be able to receive multiple minecarts and send off multiple minecarts to the station on the other side, and that's something that we're going to have to build over there as well. This is going to be a decent bit of a build, so I did prepare my inventory specifically for this? Yes, that's how words work. For this. And I prepared the llamas for this project as well. So this is what my inventory is looking like. I want to have a dark oak base here. And, oh, you can hear the rain a little bit from here. Whoops, that's the pause button. I want to do some cut copper in this project. Since we still have so much copper, I'd like to use it in an actual build. I'm going to need to use this most likely for the actual tracks, which I think I have my tracks in one of these llamas. Yeah, some more materials here, just in case I decide to use some deep slate. Yeah, there's my actual tracks, so not a massive ton. I should probably make some more regular rails. Might not be a bad idea, just to be on the safe side here. So my iron, I still have plenty of it, but it is getting to the point that it's a smidge concerning, just in case I need to, just in case I need to make more lanterns here at some point. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Perfect. Bam, my boots broke. I had to make some new ones. So the railway does function. I just need to put down the minecart and give it a little bit of a shove at this point. So, whoa, a little bit of lag as it saves the game. So I want to have a station where we can hit a button. So I have a couple buttons in my inventory specifically for that, so that we can go ahead and hit that and send ourselves off. Make it a lot more convenient than having to specifically put down a minecart and give it a little bit of a shove just to get over here every time. But hey, anytime that I want to get over here, at least it is now way more convenient. Some rain. Ash? How are you doing? Hey! Hey! Just the guy I came to see! Hi! How's it going? Yeah, I think we have about everything that we're going to need for this project here. Yeah, look at it! Go ahead and pick that up. Yoink, I will take that. Yeah, so I think it's about time that we get started on the railway project. Take this minecart, I don't want it. Making a train station would make for a bit of an interesting project. Now, this didn't need to look like an actual train station that would have modern, realistic-looking trains, just our minecarts. It would need to look like a singular, confined station that would just be able to send and receive minecarts. So this wasn't going to be a particularly large station, just enough to have a track coming in and a track going out, which would switch with the use of a detector rail. I also decided to build this in the snowy area because the idea of a railway and a train station within a snowy area just sounds so relaxing, like a place that you wait while you wait for your train to arrive and it'll bring you to your next destination, as the snow falls all around you. So I started getting things figured out for how this was actually going to work. I would need this to receive multiple minecarts without just immediately sending them back. This would have been a really easy prospect if I just had this be one track. Just have the minecart go up onto the not powered booster track, and then have a button to be able to send it back the other way. But then, if I'm sending some chest full of items, it's going to take up that one parking space, and then my cart would just bounce off and go the other way. So I couldn't have a setup like that for receiving multiple carts. So I elected for this idea of them going off this ramp down a one-way, and there would be this section of track behind that would allow multiple carts to be stored here without actually being sent off. So it wasn't exactly anything glamorous or beautiful, but it got the job done. So I started putting up some dark oak supports around the outsides. Ever since getting dark oak trees available here in the hideaway, dark oak has suddenly become like my new addiction. I was thinking about making this into spruce for a bit of a snowy area, but dark oak fits the snowy area pretty well as well, I feel like. It's another very similar dark wood that fits for a snowy feel. I experimented around a little bit with where I'd have these pillars until I finally found something that I figured looked pretty alrighty. And then I would start topping it with copper. So this is a material that would oxidize over time. So over time it would be turning green, but that'll just show its age. It's looking shiny and new for now, but that's probably not going to last for long. You might also notice during this build I would be using my enchanted iron pickaxe a decent bit, the unbreaking one. And while I do typically use stone tools rather than limited resources like iron, I figure this is one of the key steps towards getting mending tools, towards getting tools that I don't have to worry about the durability on because we'll be able to repair it with experience. So I figured during this final stretch working on these projects towards mending books, why not use my unbreaking iron enchanted pickaxe? So from time to time I would be going inside and adding some more iron ingots to it with the anvil, which would require some experience levels, use up some of the anvil durability, and of course use my iron ingots. So I did still use my stone tools sometimes, but for the most part when I needed to use a pickaxe I would usually use the enchanted iron pickaxe because I figure we're in the final stretch towards this being the last phase that I would be using it anyway. I decided to go with stone brick for the back here. And then I thought if I needed to have this gap here where it is solid blocks anyway, because there needed to be the button on one side and there needed to be the redstone torch for the powered rails on the other side, what if I use this convenient gap to make a little bit of a storeroom? So that's exactly what I decided to do. Now, normally I would dig out all the coal, let it not be wasted before I cover it up forever, but I had a lot of coal and I was a lot more laser focused on getting done this awesome snowy station. I'd have to clean up the snow around here now that we actually had the roof. And then I would finish off the outsides with a little bit of fencing. It couldn't just be completely open after all. I would alternate between fences and fence gates so that it wouldn't just look uniform and exactly the same. And I decided to play in some stripped logs around the outsides as well. I had a few spruce leaves around. I don't actually remember when this was from. I guess there must have been some time that I went around shearing spruce trees, but I found them in the chest. There was about 40 so of them. So I decided like, hey, let's go ahead and add some hedges around this. So I had to move the llamas in a little bit closer. I did also put down some trees and let them grow. And then came back out once again once it had started snowing, because there's just something so relaxing about working in the snowy area once it's actually snowing. Down here, I decided that I would make a little bit of a courtyard with a fountain in the center. Make something a little bit scenic, someplace that you relax while you're waiting for your train in the station. At the end of the day, it would be really nice to have glowstone at the bottom. In fact, maybe I could have glowstone at the top. I put a jack-o'-lantern down there just to have some sort of light, because I figured a jack-o'-lantern at the top wouldn't look all that great, but sometime later once we get access to glowstone again, maybe once we have the secret village established and I can trade glowstone with the villagers, then I'd put glowstone at the top there and have it really illuminate this area a little bit better. I put gravel around the area here, which might just become covered with snow the next time that it snows, but oh well, we know that there's gravel down there and it's a lot more path-like. So I decided to connect this around the outsides to the maintenance area of the bamboo farm, which would also connect to the main entrance. And then I figured this was about time to make the path that would actually lead to the cozy cabin. At first I thought I would just have a very subtle slope going down and going sideways, but considering how extreme the slope gets here, that wouldn't really work, so I decided to make an actual stairwell all the way down. The last time that I made a stairwell was that 90-degree stairwell that's in front of the wheat farm that leads up to the higher level, so this was a lot more of a straightaway. Luckily I had a lot of snow around, which I would use to level out the area a lot more. I would expand the porch of the cozy cabin a little bit, and even add some stripped logs to the design. Of course, I couldn't just leave this stairwell as just a stairwell. I needed to add some details, make it look a little bit more realistic. I didn't really have much of an idea of how to do this exactly, so I just kind of experimented with some ideas until I eventually settled on something that I figured looked pretty alrighty. So I added these supports around the outsides first and foremost and figured that I would build around that. I actually ran out of dark oak logs that were in my immediate inventory. I knew I had some more in the cozy cabin and some more in the llamas, but I noticed that I had some spruce in my inventory as well. So I decided to have the dark oak in the back, but have the spruce for the other supports, have a little bit of a mix of these different wood types. I'm honestly not quite sure I ever got to a design that I completely liked with this at the end of the day, but it got the job done and it achieved its function of being a stairwell to help me get from point A to point B. So that was good enough. So with the one station done, it was now time to start working on the other one. Of course, without an actual proper receiving area, this would evidently cause some problems when it came to transporting items and myself over here. So I had to disembark the minecart and push things over, since I didn't want to stay on their own, they just bounce back. I figured that over here, I might like to play into this pillar in some way. At first, when we first made the railway to this area, I had thought that what if I made the railway go around back of the pillar and make the station down on something lower. But then I started having second thoughts. What if this upper area here was a bit of a checkpoint and had the station, and then rather than the railway going around the back of the pillar, I instead took out this bottom level of the pillar, and then I built the station as if it's holding up the pillar, as if the pillar's going right into it, and the station supports itself, or what is preventing this cave from caving in, I suppose. I started encountering a lot more problems with this detector rail, because as it turns out, which way becomes the default for a rail to go is dependent on the axis. So it wound up working out perfectly for the station in the hideaway, but the way that I had this set up and the direction that it was going was the opposite compared to the hideaway, which meant that the default way for the rail to go was the opposite direction. So when it came to the detector rail, I had to do something a bit different. At first I thought I could do this, where it would just hit the detector rail coming in and switch the other way, but I found out later that if you try to go out like this, even though the detector rail only exists after the switch, it would somehow be on the detector rail while you're still on the track that would switch, and it would just loop you in the station endlessly. So this would be a design that I would have to change. I thought this was the solution, and I was wrong. So I started building the supports here. I decided to use an idea from the cozy cabin, where I would have these support pillars underneath and kind of hanging a little bit lower that look like they're supporting the overall roof. After all, this couldn't be as basic as a roof as in the hideaway. This would need to support a lot greater weight if it's supporting that stone pillar. So I needed this to look a lot more reinforced, a lot more heavy duty. I would use copper for this design as well, and I decided to build it up a lot more around the pillar to make it really look like the pillar's going into this and this is really built around the pillar with it in mind. So I would want to start covering this area with dirt, not let it just be the boring stone. My initial plan was to dig up and replace all of the stone with dirt, but then I realized that that bottom layer of dirt would be floating if you're looking at it from underneath. So I figured I would just add dirt as a single flat layer around here, make development for this little checkpoint a little bit easier if it's completely flat land, and make it so that it's being supported by the stone underneath, so it doesn't just look like it's floating there as a single block of dirt, you know? But then I started getting shot by a skeleton's arrows that I'm not sure where it came from, and I looked over and I saw something that I didn't even realize was possible. A baby zombie villager on a chicken. I don't know where the skeleton that shot me went, but I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So I put it into the pen with Ash. I was like, wow, I'm gonna go get a name tag and I'll name it and then we'll have 2 villagers. And then the little jerk despawned. I was not exactly very happy. So, so maybe I should have switched the spectator cam from spectator mode to creative mode. That way the game would realize that there's still a player in this area and would leave that entity existing, essentially. So that when I left the air on the minecart, it wasn't just like, oh, there isn't a player here, well, time to despawn it. Whoops, my mistake. I didn't think about it until after it happened. For the future, maybe I should keep one of my name tags around here, just in case a situation like that crops up again. So that'll be a rare sight that lives on only in memory, I suppose. So I came back and I finished off some details around here, finishing off some of the dirt and the ceiling. I'd add some trapdoors to the outsides, along with some fences just to add a little bit of additional detail. Sometimes some stripped logs, which I'd add on either end. And then I would leave it off camera overnight so that the grass would be able to spread. This would also mean that it would oxidize quite a bit over here, but now we have this established station in what will eventually become our secret hidden away village. With the railway trekking underground all the way through the plains up into the mountain hideaway secreted away up here. Maybe it's not as secreted away anymore with all the lights that are around it. But as we come in here, the connecting station is the Excess Express Station, named after one of my favorite RPGs. Now, Excess Express Station in the game that it was from might not have exactly been in a wintry area, but ours sure is. Excess Express Station was complete. Really? What are you doing, good sir? Excuse me, sir. Whoa. Okay, bye, I guess. Okay, well, oh. Sir. Sir. Please. Can I help you? At least it's not a grass block that he's gonna place somewhere weird again.
You're ugly.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's actually really bad. Oh, that's actually the worst timeline.
Die.
Sir. Sir. Good sir. / madam. Please. I beseech thee. My good gracious. I do not have I think I have my enchanted sword at the other station. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I thought that this was like a block lower. It wasn't. Here I was, just trying to give the post-time-lapse outro thingamabob. I put up a sign, Excess Express Station. I put one here as well. I don't know if I like this one. I was just trying to give the outro, say the station's complete, and then this freaking guy. Oh, I have that one. My, like, better enchanted one is elsewhere. I mean, like, oh my goodness gracious, what am I doing? Sir. This is a 2-block thing. Sir? Sir.
Back here, boy.
Sir, what are you gonna do now, huh? Aha! I have my... Oh my good gracious. What? Hello? Mario? Whoa. You better not. Please give me an ender pearl. We're gonna need those eventually. Oh, yes. And the dirt. We fought for this territory. For this very block of dirt. Remember it. This is a sign of victory. Anyway. now we can actually relax in the snowy area here. As I mentioned during the time lapse, I kind of want this to be like a light right here. But, what the heck was that sound? Oh, that was just the pistons. I'm losing my mind. Because I didn't want a jack-o'-lantern up here, so we'll get glowstone there eventually, and then that'll look a lot nicer. Yeah, look at this. I could just, like, relax here. See the minecart. That minecart's still going all right. Something interesting during the course of that time-lapse happening, I don't know why, but the minecarts stopped moving, both of them. So, like, I'm gonna have to get both of them going again at some point. So I just turned the machine off for now. Like, we have so much bamboo that... What? Okay, I guess this is the stuff that's all dropping. We have so much bamboo. Like, it's so filled to the brim already that I just decided to turn the machine off. Like, I guess this will be... Okay, it's starting to get kelp in here. I only recently turned it off. Like, recently switched it to resource mode, that is. Boopity-bop. Yeah. So, the pistons will still be going. There's no way to turn that off. So I don't know why that happened. I don't know why the machine turned off. Why that one's still going just fine, but this one is, not so much. But whatever, it's fine. We have so much dried kelp right now that it doesn't matter. Don't need to run it again for a little while. But yeah, look at this. So if we want to go to the other station, we can go ahead and hit that button. And we go through the mountains. Secret, secret, secret tunnel. I had to go back and forth for resources a few times while I was working on that project over there. Even though, you know, I had several chests. Sometimes there were some niche things that I was missing, like my fortune pickaxe, which... Do I have that? No, I have it in a chest at home right now. I need to come back and forth to these a few times. And while you're on the railway, you can just, like, munch some carrots and stuff. So, yeah, this has proved to be a very useful railway. Just come on in over here, get a little bit of rainfall. This is the one that's all oxidized, since this is the one that I stayed AFK at. Whoops. No, I wanted to hit the button, is what I wanted to do. So it's really easy to send things to and fro. So when we do get villagers in there, I can absolutely just fill up a chest full of mending books and just send it over. Or whatever other material. Mending books, glowstone, other enchanted stuff, all kinds of goodies. I totally didn't just wait for it to snow again to finish off this segment because the snow is super relaxing. I'm honestly surprised that this hasn't started oxidizing yet. I know most of my AFK time was over there, but still. To see this still in, like, perfect, pristine copper. We can actually purposefully keep things in perfect, pristine copper if we get access to bees later and we wax these. But it'll slowly oxidize for now, and hey, maybe it'll look good when it's looking green and aged. But for now, it's a fresh station, and we now have easy access between this location, the hideaway, and the other secret village that we're gonna make. Easily be able to switch between the two. And so we look over through the snow, we see the infinite fuel facility over there, which is off right now, right next to the Excess Express station. That means that we can knock another sign off of the bulletin board here. Train stations are complete! We have completed the train stations. Next step on the list is going to be creating a village. We are also going to need villagers for that. Until we eventually get this, we get mending tools. I'll be able to use all the spicy enchanted things. It'll be great. Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be an awesome time. So, another task completed. So with that, thanks anyone who could be tuning into Peculiar Potions. And until next time, take care and see ya.